Hi Aries, this is your reading for the week of February 8th. So when I started preparing for the spread, the guide started giving me this image of you with a set of cymbals going clang, big and loud and bold, and all of a sudden I remembered, which I don't always do, something that I did for you a while back, and that was you stepping out on the stage, looking back over your shoulder to see if there was going to be support for you. Now, the feeling with this reading is it's not that you're waiting to perform based on whether or not somebody in the sidelines is going to support you. It feels like you have moved to that stage where you're out there and you are drawing attention to who you are. You are making the sound, you are making the noise to present yourself in a way. Now, the next thing that comes for me as I'm doing that is there's also the image of you creating a fire, a little fire, to keep yourself warm. But in the process of creating the fire and putting the logs on the fire, sometimes you are a little bit, you can go either way, where you put too little on the fire or you put too much on the fire. But the tendency is sometimes in the process of trying to keep yourself stable, okay, the fire being an analogy for warmth, security, stability, that sometimes in the process of trying to maintain that for yourself, you create structures that are accidentally, inadvertently too restrictive. Or you create them and then you outgrow them. You get to the edge. Well, what you're being told here is be grateful when you get to the edge of a structure. Of the structure being how you see yourself, your ego structure, a relationship, a job, a set of skills that you use. When you find yourself getting to the edge of that, it's when you are outgrowing where you are, or you're outgrowing the ideals and the values that supported that way of being. So it's a good thing because it's a sign of growth. But what can also happen in the process of that is that you can, in your attempt to get out of that, in your attempt to grow beyond that, you can actually create too much fire. You can use too much fire. What does that mean? That means that you are a fire sign, and every fire sign is going to be more sensitive to extra fire. That's the way it works with energy. That's the way it works within the Ayurvedic system of the body and the consciousness as an expression of different elements. So as a fire sign, when there's a lot of fire around, you're going to respond to it more quickly than a non-fire sign. It also means that you have a tendency to go at things quickly, with determination, and sometimes with an attitude of controlling. That's sometimes why you get yourself into structures that are, or you create structures. You don't get into them, you create them. You create them out of a sense of needing to create security for yourself. And sometimes that goes back to childhood where there has not been a sense of security. Not for everybody, but for some people. But what you're being asked to look at in this regard is, where has the structure that you are currently in, that you're having difficulty being in, how has it been a representation of who you thought you were, who you thought you were supposed to be, and the rights that you have to be somebody different? Because the reality is we all create structures all the time. They're concepts, they're ideas within which our personality can function. And as our personality grows, those structures that represented who we used to be, they naturally don't fit. So there is no criticism in terms of having come to recognize where you've been limiting yourself, because it's only a limit now. Before, it was a supportive structure. So what you're being asked to do is say, okay, well, if this job, relationship, attitude about myself, how I live my daily life, if it has become untenable for me, if it has become frustrating, unfulfilling, aggravating in some way, stifling, where is the structure placed in relation to where you were and where you'd like to be? And sometimes it's only when you come up against that that you realize you need more. You want more. And it's that very thing that gets you to ask questions about where you want to be, about how you want to feel in yourself, how you want to experience yourself in your life. Now, the fact that you have got your symbols out says to me that a good lot of you have already shifted enough that you are now out there, loud and proud, being who you are, and you're no longer looking over your shoulder. You're kind of going, well, if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. And in a way, that is really great. But you're also being told here that you can carry with you into that new state some of the old personality traits that created the problems in the first place. And that what you're being asked to look at is, are you feeding the fire in ways that are old? Because often what we'll do is, you're getting gratitude, you're getting angels everywhere, you're getting choose 3 qualities that if you'd had your perfect childhood, how would you be different? And how would you apply that to your new situation or to the situation you'd like it to be? You're being asked, do it big, engage in life fully, do everything 100%. Like whatever you're doing, really, really embrace it. But that's, of course, if it feels good for you, if it's aligned with what allows you to, okay, now you just got childhood prayers too, okay? So very clearly for some of you, this is getting out of a protective structure that you've created in terms of how you see yourself in relationship, in personal relationship, and in relation to how you experience the world. And you're being asked to really look at that and soften your approach, to cut back a little bit on the fire energy, get a little bit more of that watery feminine energy in your perspective, because that's what's going to allow you to sit back in your intuition more. You won't lose your powerful center, but what will happen is you'll be using the fire to create positive things along your alignment to your heart and to your deeper self, your intuitive self. And that is going to allow you to really use that fire to construct rather than destroy. Now, again, it's asking you to look at life in a new way, but it's looking at yourself in a new way, okay? Looking at yourself in a new way and understanding that in the past, sometimes because of childhood situations, being angry was better than being scared. Feeling anger allowed you to feel as though you had some kind of control. And that this can really become a very, very normal operating system for anybody, not just Aries, but for anybody who's grown up with any kind of instability, okay? And again, remember, instability doesn't have to mean bad parents. It can mean situations beyond their control, somebody being sick, somebody need to travel for work. There's a whole range of different things that can create a sense of instability in a child. It can be a great home life, but having great difficulty at school. So there's all sorts of different options for here, Aries, but what you're being asked to do is, please notice where your structure is stuck, where you're feeling like you need to outgrow, where you have outgrown it and you need to grow. Remember that an attitude of gratitude opens you up to more. And so the more you can stay in a state of gratitude, it's a very high frequency. And that's going to help you be able to open to doing this change, this evolution of how you work with your fiery energy in a really positive, constructive way. You're being told, take a chance to look at things in a new way, going back over your childhood to see where you have certain qualities that you might like to have more of, and what would they be, and how would they affect. If you could be that way, how would they affect you? How would that affect your choices? And how would that affect your state of mind? You can use your imagination on that. And you're also being asked to please bring in a little bit more of that watery female receptive energy, the intuitive energy, to help balance out your system energetically and to open you up to intuitive guidance in this, because you've got angels everywhere. And this is also a really good card if you're finding yourself in conflict with people in the structure that you are in the process of changing. The angel card says this: today, imagine that everyone you meet is an angel sent to you by some benevolent force for your own best good. Remember, everyone is an angel, no matter what they look or act like, say, do, or don't do. How does this affect how you behave towards them? How does it shift the dynamic? And what do you notice about your prejudices and prejudgments? So this kind of goes along for me with the gratitude card. It's really saying, be grateful for everything, for everybody who comes. So even if within the structure, the structure that you're attempting to change or in the process of changing, even if within that you come up against resistance, step back a little bit, and instead of going into fire and aggression about it, go, you know what? This person's here to help me learn something about myself. So how can I use this situation to my benefit? And if my old pattern is getting really angry as a defense and burning my bridges, maybe I can do it in a different way. So I'm going to remember to be grateful. I'm going to remember to move into that energy so that it's flipping it. So it's, glass half full, not glass half empty. This is a resource, not a problem. This is an opportunity, not a problem. And this can help me grow more resources in myself that are newer, more updated, and more in alignment with what my new spiritual values are or my new sense of self is. Okay? That's it for you, Aries. Take care.